Welcome, everybody. We're very happy that you're all here tonight. I'm Shirley Cloyes, DioGuardi, the Balkan Affairs Advisor to the Albanian American Civic League and Foundation, and I believe that we are ready here to embark on an important journey. We're recognizing at the Museum of Jewish Heritage the unique role that Albanians played in Albania and Kosovo in saving every Jew who either lived in Albania or sought asylum there during the Holocaust, and then going from there to see how the Albanian role of courage and self-sacrifice and tolerance can be applied to modern-day genocides, to preventing genocide in our time.
Avinu Sheba Shemayim, Lord, Father who is in heaven, bless the assembled crowd here today, again representing and commemorating the great chesed, the goodness of the people of Greater Albania who helped their Jewish neighbors, their friends, and even Jewish refugees during the dark years of the Shoah.
You have to know that Ron Retner is a mensch. The Jewish people know what a mensch is, right? When he believes in something, he believes in it. We convinced him to support us last year on the 100th anniversary of the independence of Albania. He came, made a substantial contribution so we could have the right consultants, and we really did a good job. He thought it was magnificent, and he said, Joe, Shirley, we got to do this in New York. There are more Jews there, more Albanians, more press. Ron, you are a mensch, and thank you so much. He not only provided the money, he gave us the idea. He said, if we're going to do it, we're not going to do it. The 100th anniversary is over. Let's do something different. Albanian Jewish solidarity, but let's make it the example to prevent genocide in the future so that never again is really coming to life. And you did that, Ron. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
The famous Jewish philosopher Elie Wiesel once said that the implications and the applications of the Holocaust are universal. I believe that Ron Retner is someone who understands this very, very deeply. The seeds of tonight actually began a year ago in Washington, D.C., where we held a similar event, and Ron insisted that we needed to bring this knowledge of the Albanian role during the Holocaust to New York City. And it was because of the early and substantial financial support of Karen and Ron Retner that we are here tonight.
I have been repeatedly asked why, as an American Jew whose family was not directly impacted by the Holocaust, have I invested tens of thousands of dollars in disseminating the story and message of the Albanian rescue of its Jews. I am adamant that Albanians should be honored and recognized for their national heroism and individual courage in standing up to and defying Nazi bullyism and atrocities. As a citizen of the world, I abhor the senseless, wanton, indiscriminate persecution and slaughter of individuals and groups victimized for racial, religious, ethnic, tribal, and nationalistic religions. I am therefore hopeful that the Albanian message resonates in some small way in a world that turned its back on Nazi genocide and the myriad genocides of our time. I pray that the world comes to its senses and suppresses the senseless, needless hatreds which all too often have resulted in wholesale slaughter and genocide. I am proud and honored to carry the Albanian torch and message of tolerance and defiance. Thank you.
Congressman Jerry Nadler. He's known certainly throughout New York and actually through much of the country for his towering intellect, his decades of commitment to public service, and his strong, strong advocacy for civil rights and human rights of all peoples. And even though he has never been on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, at least to my knowledge, Jerry, he has been working with us from the very beginning, both in terms of supporting the Albanian struggle throughout the Balkans for self-determination and freedom, and for bringing to international attention the unique role that Albanians played in saving European Jewry.
The Albanian example of tolerance, self-sacrifice, and courage can be and should be applied to genocide prevention in our time. This is especially important in light of the modern-day genocides in Rwanda, Bosnia, Kosovo, Sierra Leone, and now Syria. With tomorrow's observance of the 65th anniversary of the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, we must remember that we must continue to fight for the end of genocide all over the world.
The subject of rescue is one that we take very closely to heart at the United Nations. In fact, with the UN Holocaust Program this year, it was the theme, and many of you might know that we focused on the story of a family of rescue during the Holocaust Memorial Ceremony last January. And it was with great pleasure that we were able to tell this story of the Jewish Mandil family and how the Albanian family, the Veselis, rescued them. And they have been, as many of you know, determined as righteous among the nations. So I encourage you all to have a look in this wonderful booklet that Shirley worked so hard to put together. And there you will see the magnificent list of Albanian families that rescued Jews during the Holocaust.
Time is running out. Most of these people, they passed away, and we have to collect the stories. And I think that many people are doing a good job, but I think that Shirley and Joe here, they are working on it also, and each one of us should do, if we can, something to help in this cause. It's very important. The small and poor Albania put an halt to this huge machine of killing people. These small people did what all the civilized countries and peoples of the world of the time, they failed to do. And I will tell you one last thing. I live in Israel. I don't know what happens in other countries, but in Israel, when you say I am Albanian, it's like you have a diploma of honor. You diploma daring.
We're going to hear from Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, Congresswoman Ros-Lehtinen, who was, until quite recently, the chair of the House International Relations Committee. Many people don't realize that her mother is actually, the descendants of her mother actually were Jews who escaped the Spanish Inquisition and moved to Turkey. Turkey accepted Jews throughout that period, you may or may not know. And how ultimately her family gets to Cuba is something that I've never had time to sit down with her and discover. But it was very nice of her because she has worked with us repeatedly in every aspect of our work to bring lasting peace and stability to Southeast Europe, to send us a video from her home district in Florida.
Good evening and welcome to the Museum of Jewish Heritage, where you will have the opportunity to bear witness to little known but tremendously important acts of kindness, of humanity, of heroism. Tonight, by retelling their stories, we remember and honor those Albanians who risked everything to rescue Jews from the perils of the Holocaust. I'm terribly saddened that I could not be with you in person, but I join you in honoring the virtues of tolerance, of courage, and of self-sacrifice of the Albanian people. It is an honor and a privilege to be a small part of the Albanian American Civic League and Foundation event tonight, and to welcome all of you to what I know will be a very moving evening. I want to thank Joe and Shirley for having done a superb job supporting the Albanian people, and for helping to keep those important stories alive for all of us to hear and understand them.
This event couldn't be more timely, Shirley and Joe. Tomorrow, the UN will commemorate the 65th anniversary of the Convention on Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, and we have this excellent explanation by the previous speaker. This important piece of legislation has gone a long way. 144 countries have ratified it, including Albania, but there is still a lot to do. The terrifying stories of Rwanda, Bosnia, and Kosovo, to mention the most recent ones, remind us that we must remain vigilant, that unfortunately history repeats itself in its worst, and that our duty is to never forget. The world has become a better place, there is no doubt, but it's hardly a perfect one. Humanity will improve if we continue to learn from our past tragedies and our own mistakes. If we keep up the memory of the brave and never forget the consequences of hate, discrimination, and indifference. Thank you.
The story that we are telling tonight is very powerful. A small nation itself in trouble. In the time when Jewish people were persecuted and they were to be exterminated, they stood up. They stood up and said, no, we are not giving up our Jewish friends. We are not giving up our Jewish neighbors. No, we are not giving up our Jewish guests who are coming from other countries. We are going to save them because they are human beings. They had no fault of being persecuted, and they deserve to live and continue their lives properly as human beings should continue.
My grandfather, Mustafa, traveled to Israel to attend the recognition at Yad Vashem of the saving role that Albanians had played during the Holocaust. 2 years earlier, in 2005, he co-founded the Kosovo-Israeli Friendship Association in Pristina, and now I manage the organization's mission and affairs. So far, we have been able to identify at least 60 families in Kosovo that provided shelter and safe passage for Jews. On March 17, 2008, Yad Vashem recognized Arslan Reznici and his family for their saving role during the Holocaust, the first Kosovar Albanian to receive the award of Righteous Among Nations. Mustafa Reznici, my grandfather, accepted the award in Kosovo's capital on behalf of his father. A year later, in 2009, Mustafa died at the age of 85. But before he died, Mrs. Shirley, Cloyes, DioGuardi, and I created and produced a videotaped oral history interview with him. As the film makes clear, my grandfather's experience during the Holocaust was one of the most formative in his life, and I will always remember his words about the role that his family played in saving Jews. No matter what the risk is to you and your family, you may never betray your promised word. Besa. Thank you very much.
I'm a child of Holocaust survivors. My parents, who were married to others who lost their lives, had 6 children who died in the Holocaust. And they told me many times in this country when they arrived, if we had more Albanians in other parts of the world, maybe those 6 children would still be alive today. So thank you so much. In Jewish tradition, every day of the week in the prayer book, we say thank you in different ways. One time we say it publicly, the other time we say it silently. I know there are some people who go through life and are grateful, but they never express those words. I think it's very important to publicly say thank you, especially those who have saved so many lives because of their belief in this concept of Besa, or as we say, it's a mitzvah, it's the right thing to do.
We have another short video from Congressman Rohrabacher. Why would you want to hear from him? He has been steadfast in his support for the people of Kosovo. He has done things with his position on the committee that we need the most, the Foreign International Relations Committee, and now he's the chairman of the European Subcommittee, which makes it even more important for Kosovo. And we were able to get him to do a hearing earlier this year when Serbia was trying to make a strategy to take back the top part of Kosovo, which they may still be trying to do, and that's why our league has to be on guard at all times. I want you to hear from Dana Rohrabacher, but I want you to know the best lobbying you can do is not up here where Shirley and I call. It's getting people in that district where they live. And I want to commend Haki DeVichy and Adam Dukai, who flew from California, for lobbying him over the years to make sure he understood the Albanian experience.
I'm so happy that you've gathered together today there in New York to pay homage to those brave people in Albania and Kosovo who actually risked their lives at that moment in history. Since that time, we've seen so many horrible acts of genocide where people didn't step forward, whether it was Rwanda or even when it happened in Kosovo itself just 20 years ago. We've seen so much of this bloodshed that it could actually, it could cause you to lose faith in the humankind itself. No one would be paying a more terrible price than those people who were caught trying to save those Jews from Hitler's torturous chambers. And the Albanians and the Kosovars deserve the respect that you're paying them today. By the way, I want to thank Joe and Shirley and the Albanian American Civic League for working with you to try to document these cases and to make sure that it's remembered. I know that you getting together today are going to fulfill some of the goals that they've been working for a long time. So congratulations to them, and thank all of you for this wonderful endeavor to congratulate people who need that historic congratulations.
It was the Canadian politician and academic Michael Ignatieff who identified what I believe to be Lemkin's most important and compelling contribution to the prevention of genocide: his supreme act of moral imagination. That quality of his makes us ask why any one group of people should care for another's welfare. Specifically, and with history providing exterminatory evidence, it is not out of place to ask you, the distinguished company here in this room, what you know and feel about Darfurians, about Bosniaks, about Cambodians and Guatemalans. We know and we justly celebrate tonight what the Albanians felt and did for the Jews 3 generations ago in an earlier time of terror and destruction.
I salute Joe, Shirley, and all of you for the effort that you are making to ensure that the Albanian heroism during the Holocaust can be replicated in our time. We live in a world of conflict, sometimes dominated by fundamentalists like the Iranians, who would think nothing of eliminating not only Israel and Jews, but anyone who does not hew to their fundamentalist views. We need more organizations like yours to mobilize support to speak out against these atrocities. And so again, let me thank you for the privilege and honor of being here tonight to participate in this program.
51 Albanian-speaking villages in Italy, and we got to praise Italy for what they did, not only back then when it was the Kingdom of Naples, because don't forget, Italy wasn't formed as a unified state until 1861, but today, in every one of these towns, the Italian government pays for the kids to learn Albanian. Would you believe that? I mean, that is progressive when you think about it, and yet Albanians can't even study in their own language in Montenegro, Macedonia. I mean, it's amazing the discrimination that goes on that you don't know about it.
I saw firsthand such a beautiful and rare land and an incredible people. The Kosovar Albanians, people of integrity, humanity, and representing, I think, all that's good in this world. And when you put that together with, the affinity here that we feel in the museum, and the work that was done in the Second World War. Albania, being there early and all the way for the Jewish people fleeing the Holocaust. And we thank the Albanian people for showing true humanity to the rest of the world. That's right.
In our commemoration this evening, we remember, as Jan Werner Müller writes, that it cannot be taken for granted that the recovery of the memories of oppressed groups is automatically liberating. Ours is the duty as citizens in our democracies to face history as we challenge ourselves. We live with the contestation that arises as history reveals facts that make us question what we thought we knew. We acknowledge this evening in the story of Albania's rescue that memory, particularly disagreements about past actions, can lead us to unite in a present endeavor with a purpose larger than ourselves. This is the ethical command to remember, which Germany's experience in Europe urges humanity never to forget. Thank you.
Thank you.